And as always, we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Ken, can you please take the lead?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ken. And Frank, do we have someone from the faith community with us today?
We do. We have one of our favorite friends in the town of Riverhead. We have Reverend Mary Cooper from the House of Praise Christian Revival Center. And thank you for being with us tonight.
Good evening, Reverend.
Good evening. How are you?
Oh, good, thank you.
Good. Good. Want to ask everyone to stand again. Father, we just want to thank you for this opportunity to come before your presence and to bless you and thank you for this season of love, grace, and mercy. We ask, oh God, that you would just bless us, oh God, if we present our petitions to the board, that you would bless the board with wisdom, understanding, and knowledge that this can be the best town in the United States of America. We give you all the praise, all the glory, and the honor in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Great. Thank you, Reverend, and thank you, Frank. And before we begin, I want to take a moment to thank everyone who nominated me for Supervisor of the Year and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for acknowledging the town of Riverhead and the ongoing effort into moving our Riverhead forward and becoming a regional destination known for attractions and a vibrant and activated downtown. It is truly an honor to receive the award, and on behalf of all the residents and who put myself forward and my fellow town board members in the position to help me make a positive impact here in Riverhead. I want to thank you once again. And lastly, in this regard, I could not have done it without our dedicated employees, many who have been supporting our revitalization efforts. Moving on forward, can I have a first and a second? To close the town board meeting and to open a community development meeting, please. Second?
Second.
Okay. Diane, can you please call the vote?
It's Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
J-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The town board meeting is closed and the CDA meeting is now open.
I'm going to call up Dawn Thomas, our CDA Director. Good evening, Dawn.
Good evening, Supervisor, board members. We have one small resolution on tonight and one important, much bigger resolution on tonight. So I guess we can start. I don't think we have any announcements. Our small item is to approve the minutes of our March 16th meeting. And we need a motion and a second to do that.
Second.
Okay. Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrat.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The minutes of the March 16th meeting are now approved, and then we would look for comments on pending resolutions. Public comments on pending
Does anyone want
resolutions.
to add to the resolution before us for the CDA? Can you read the resolution, just the topic,
Yes, I will,
so
and
the
then
public understands?
If it's okay, I'll just make a couple of brief comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The resolution is CDA 2022-5, designates J. Petroselli Development Associates as master developer for Town Square project and authorizes Community Development Agency and NDC to commence negotiation of relevant terms to proceed pursuant to general municipal law provisions regarding determination of qualified and eligible sponsor and applicable hearing requirements. And so that resolution has a 30-year history. So I think I just go over that really quickly, and I think if you look at the resolution, it pretty well recites that 30-year history of downtown revitalization attempts on the part of the town, which began with the designation of our East Main Street urban renewal area. And that resulted in some important projects, including the Long Island Aquarium. And we continued to work toward downtown revitalization over the next 30 years with many different attempts to make things happen, to get rid of blight, to eliminate vacancy, And I think in the last 3 years, we've probably gotten quite a bit done in that regard, commencing with a grant that we received from New York State to design the town square. The board had retained Urban Design Associates and Barry Long to work on that as a public engagement process. That process was lengthy and resulted in a preliminary design. Subsequently, we applied for, and multiple times, for downtown revitalization money, the $10 million grant. And so we were awarded that grant, as you know, this year, and I think, it's all starting to come together. So this resolution is sort of evidence of the fact that the work that you're doing is bringing good results to you all and to the community. The proposal that you're looking at and considering does quite a lot of the things that were outlined in the Barry Long design that was created by the public, including a lot of public space and amenities. So I'll let the public comment now, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of background and anybody in the audience who had questions, and I know that the applicant wants to make a couple of comments as well. Okay. All right. So
Do we have anyone in the, on Zoom?
Nobody raised their hand.
So I will let the applicant's attorney just make a few comments.
Okay.
And also, by the way, we also have our consultant, Kevin Grums, here from National Development Council, if you have any questions.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board, town clerk, town attorney, and members of the public. My name is Eric Russo. I'm with the law firm of Van Brunt, Jesuiak & Russo, with offices at 140 Main Street in Sayville, and I represent J. Petroselli Development Associates. I'm here this evening, Madam Supervisor and members of the board, to thank you, first of all, for our pleasure to meet with you all on April the 14th to present the proposal that's under discussion this evening for consideration as J. Petroselli Development Associates is a qualified eligible sponsor under New York State Urban Renewal Law and a master developer for the Riverhead Town Square project. I've provided you, and there are copies here in the front, of the latest updated proposal for the Riverhead Town Square. As you're aware, J. Petroselli Development Associates has been committed to the town of Riverhead for over 25 years with the construction of attractions and hotels in downtown Riverhead, as well as the preservation of historic buildings on Main Street. Petroselli Development views the Riverhead Town Square project as a continuation of its significant role to revitalize urban renewal in downtown Riverhead. Petroselli Development's proposal joins Main Street with the Peconic River for Riverhead Town residents and its visitors. It creates a diverse gathering place for all to enjoy with safe access to the riverfront. The town square will have a firehouse museum, boathouse discovery center, communal workspace, amphitheater, playground, interactive games, retail shops, hotel and restaurant bar with rooftop access, as well as affordable condominiums. The town square will be further beautified with a large fountain, landscaping, pathways, seating, unique lighting, artwork, and year-round decorations. The project incorporates the town's natural asset, the Peconic River, and allows for safe access for water activities, a bike path, strolls along the Riverwalk, and all of which will be ADA compliant. The project as being proposed is zoning compliant with the Downtown Center 1 for Main Street as an urban renewal area. The project approval rests with you as the Riverhead Town Board and will require the necessary CEQA determination as to project development, parking, flood mitigation, and other related issues. Petroselli Development utilized the concept renderings created by the urban design architects, elements of the Downtown River Pattern Book as developed from extensive public participation from the town residents, as well as the current market studies to create a vibrant town square that will improve the quality of life for Riverhead Town residents, help retain existing businesses, attract new businesses, reduce vacancies, and create new jobs for long-term economic growth for the town of Riverhead. On behalf of my client, we thank you for the consideration as to the designation of J. Petroselli Development Associates as the master developer and for the advancement of the Riverhead Town Square project. We thank you for your time this evening. If there are other questions, Mr. Petroselli and members of our team are here to answer them. So I thank you again. What you've seen here in the proposal is also what was shown and updated after our meeting on April 14th. So I thank you again and look forward to trying to move forward with the project.
Just an additional comment, the qualified and eligible sponsor determination will be a separate determination. That would be after additional public input and public engagement. As you know, getting to this point took a tremendous amount of work. There's a tremendous amount of work ahead of you as a board if you decide to move forward with this resolution, more public engagement, more opportunities for discussion and negotiation. So just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Okay.
So if I could just make a few comments. First, I just want to commend Mr. Petroselli for everything that you have invested already, in the past year in Riverhead. You have been a leader in our own economic growth of many years, and I commend you, and I think that you are more than qualified, maybe overqualified to lead this endeavor, and I know we're in great hands. What I am going to do is just ask you, in terms of in the future, eventually this will lead to a development agreement, and I'll ask you and I'll ask Dawn Thomas that the town board itself, all 5 members, be a part of that development agreement and be able to have a chance to review and share, as opposed to just a single contract directly between you and the supervisor, that the entire board gets to take part and to review that. I have 100% confidence, and I look forward the design process, things that you have put forward. Unfortunately, I missed the meeting the other day, but Dawn graciously got me up to speed, and I reviewed everything, and it is very, very impressive. So I look forward to it. All right? Thank you, sir. Yes.
Please don't, not here, not on TV.
So, that's all. I just wanted to make sure that all the members of the board, we all keep engaged together as a unit when it comes to the development agreement itself. Thank you.
Any comments from anyone? No one on Zoom? Oh, Mr. McCall. Good evening.
Good evening. John McAuliffe from Roanoke Landing in Riverhead. I have watched the work session a couple of times and have just heard what's been said, and I had a couple of questions. One about process, one said about process, and the other about substance. The process question is how long, if you could tell us when the discussions started between you and Mr. Petroselli about this particular proposal. I know you've had a long relationship with him, but including in the demolition part of it, but I wonder about this development proposal, how long that discussion has taken place. The second is whether you issued any request for proposals and opened the door to other concepts of how the town square should be developed, or whether you simply assumed that this is the one and only project that should be considered for it. So that's my process question, and if you choose to answer them, I'd be happy to have the answers. I have a substance comment, which is just from having watched it, and it is a very professionally prepared summary that was done. But what struck me about it was 2 things. And when the buildings were torn down and the town invested the money in it, the sense that perhaps mistakenly that I had was that you were talking about an open space, essentially from Main Street to the river. I remember this was the design that appeared originally in Riverhead Local, which has, I don't know what the actual footage across is, but it's much more substantial than the 70-foot across that is in the Petroselli design that you were looking at the work session. And it gives a very, very different feel. I don't know whether the investment of the money to tearing down of the buildings was intended to provide space for a new hotel, and whether that is really what we want as opposed to open space along that side, and the buildings on the other side that are now, I guess, going in front of the Science Center, which my recollection was the Science Center was supposed to be directly on the town square. So I don't know, I think that you should, obviously you can go into much more substantive detail about the plan, but some of these things seem to be already in the resolution as assumed, as well as a public-private partnership. But again, I'd come back to the two questions. One was how long this has been in discussion between the supervisor. It sounds like just of the supervisor with Mr. Petroselli. And
Sir,
second,
don't make that assertion.
well,
if you don't-
that was what Mr. Rothwell seemed
Well,
to be
don't
saying.
make that assertion,
Okay,
please.
all right.
All right, especially when you have no knowledge. If Mr. Councilman Rothwell made a statement, that's fine, unless you each
All
spoke
right,
to each other.
I withdraw that
Unless you
language.
spoke to each other, and now you're supporting each other.
my
Let's
question-
leave it there. This is a comment
All right,
section.
my question
Let's
is-
keep it at a comment section.
All right, my question is, how long had those discussions been going on, and did you do a request for proposals to open yourself to other concepts about how the town square should be built? And I will,
This was first discussed with the entire town board back in December, and I know that Dawn Thomas, the CDA director, can add to it. But there was an initial, and I believe there was individual talks prior to that. So that assertion you made is absolutely wrong, and I'll have Dawn Thomas come up and she's been the
well, I
driver
say,
behind
I'm
that.
simply taking from what Mr. Rothwell had said,
No.
that was
That's
the
not what I
situation.
said at all, so, John, don't.
Okay.
Okay, let's
But
move
in
on
any case,
forward.
my question is, how long this particular proposal has been in discussion before it came to the work session?
I just answered your question,
And-
that there was a presentation made in December to the entire town board, and I was gonna...
Of this proposal?
Of this, yes, something very close to that. You said when we started the negotiations, or when we started an introductory of the possible project, but I'll let Dawn Thomas add to it.
And was there a request for
I'm not
proposals?
going back and forth after
Okay,
you
all right.
became accusatory.
Well, again, I would...
I'm not here, you're not an attorney.
I would give the designs to the town clerk as alternative views of how that
Okay, thank
space
you.
should be used.
All right, we'll definitely take that, thank you.
Which question do you want me to address? I think there were two questions. I think first, the proposal, as you're seeing it now, and you've seen it for the past couple of months, is an evolving proposal. It's preliminary, just like the town square process was. That was a public engagement process without a developer in mind, but knowing that the board intended it on a public-private partnership, because the things that the town wants would, if we were just to purchase open space and create parkland, that would be a costly thing, and we'd have to provide parking, but also the activation that the development, the private development can provide to the town square. So that was always the concept in the original design. We always knew that the proposals that we would get for the actual development by a developer in business would be somewhat different than that. It was a jumping off point, and as is this, what we're looking at today is also a jumping off point. Just in terms of the RFP, it's a good question, and I think the board, in our discussions, Mr. Petroselli's been a qualified and eligible sponsor in the past. He's a stakeholder and is invested in the downtown. And so, and an RFP is a lengthy process, and so we've had quite a good amount of momentum on this project since it started in earnest the last few years. And so I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the impression that the board gave me and I agreed with was that it would be wise to explore the possibility of continuing with Mr. Petroselli as a potential master developer. And if these things, and as I said earlier, this is more work coming up. There's going to be a lot of discussions, negotiations, again, public engagement. So what we're looking at today will look probably different when we're all done with it. But if it doesn't work out in the end, the board can do an RFP. But given a couple of things, the other thing too is Long Island Science Center is adjacent to this property. Whatever happens there, and they have plans to redevelop their building, it depends on what happens with your town square property. So I think that moving forward, as quickly as you can, if that's possible, is not a bad decision. So hopefully that answers your question. No? Yeah, no? There was multiple questions posed in the same paragraph, so I'm not sure if I got them all.
Anyone else? There is, okay.
Me to read the resolution?
No, there's somebody on. Okay, who's R?
You're on, Ron Hariri?
Oh,
You might be muted, Ron. Mr. Hariri?
you're muted. Would you unmute yourself? Please, there you go. Better.
Yes, thank you. Just to clarify, which members of the board have received campaign contributions from this applicant?
Okay, the comments need to be about the resolution, sir.
Yes, and I'm concerned that the judgment of members of the board may have been clouded by reason of receipt of campaign donations from this particular applicant. So my question is, which members of the board have in fact received donations from this applicant?
Is that the extent of your comments?
No, it isn't.
Okay.
Can I get an answer?
This isn't a question and answer session. This is comments on the resolutions.
My comment is that those members of the board that have received financial contributions, political or otherwise, from this applicant may have their judgment tainted by those payments, and I would request that they abstain from voting on this matter.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
you've made that comment clear.
Secondly, I have another comment. There have been a reference to the town's conveyance of this property to this particular applicant. My question is, what consideration will there be if an ownership interest is in fact conveyed to this applicant? And finally, I by no means want to denigrate the excellent work that this applicant has undertaken in Riverhead. That being said, I think that this process needed to be substantially more transparent, since it involves a public asset, than it has been. And I think that if this is the best possible route for Riverhead, it needed to have more public engagement, and there should not have been ex parte communications with this developer at the expense of other potential developers. Thank you.
All right. We're done with this. Anyone else? Okay, great. Yes, good evening, Laura.
Hi, how are you? Just a couple problems with the Zoom, and I tried to call in, but the code that was published was incorrect, just for your information.
Okay.
So a couple things. First of all, I hope everybody had a good Easter and enjoyed themselves and their family. So a couple things, and my comments really have no reflection on the merit of this project or the developer. I think, Mr. Petroselli has done a lot for the town of Riverhead. I think we can all appreciate what he has done and his commitment to the town through the years. But my concern is that this was only presented to the public less than 5 days ago. We had a holiday weekend in between. And it's really a very short notice to be able to formulate your questions, to really take a look at this project and be able to ask questions of the board before you are approving it. So I would ask that you delay the vote on this, to have the public, to have another meeting where Mr. Petroselli can present the project to the public. They're able to ask their questions, have them answered, and then put the project on. It doesn't need to be lengthy, but a week or 10 days, I think is certainly something in trying to be transparent that may be something you might want to consider. A couple other questions I have is that it's the whole project for the purchase of the properties, if I remember correctly, was somewhere around $5.5 million to purchase the 3 parcels together. So I guess my question is, what is the percentage of the acreage or the square footage? I know it's in a smaller downtown area, so I would imagine it would be square footage, not acreage, that is going to be accessible to the public. I know that there's some grass area that will be put into what the town currently owns as part of the parking lot. But of that purchase, how much of that is going to be open space and accessible to the public? That's one of the questions I have. And then if somebody could answer that, I'd appreciate it. And my second question I have is, in the second resolve of the resolution, it says, and I would just like some clarity on this, because it says that the Community Development Department, along with the Community Development Agency and the Industrial Development Agency, with the assistance of NDC, shall immediately begin negotiations. I was just at the meetings for the transit-oriented development, and it was made very clear that the board and the town board had no authority over the actions of the IDA. So I'm just curious how that's worded and what that means in this resolution.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
And just, I have one other comment also. And it's just, I know that you had spoken about the TOD area, and the process that I think the town took with the TOD over by the railroad station of forming the community, putting out an RFP, having it evaluated, come back to the town, let the community see it and digest it, and then approving it, I think was a much more open process to do it, and I would encourage you to do that with this process also. And one other question I have is, I know when Dawn was speaking, she was saying, and I know, Tim, that you seem to have agreed with this when she said that even if you approve this resolution, come down the road, if you're not in agreement with it, or they're not qualified and eligible, which I doubt I would not expect that to happen, that you can always go in another direction. I think it's unfair to the developer to go into this with the expectation of them as the master developer, especially somebody that has committed so much to our town, without feeling confident that we're going to go through if they are qualified and eligible. So I think it was a little bit of a misstatement to say that, we can go through with this, but if we don't like it down the road, then we're going to change it. Because I don't really think that that's the intention of the town unless it is. So I would just be curious on that.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you.
That's all.
Okay, Dawn, can you continue the meeting, please?
Sure. I would also just point out, relative to the former speaker's comments, the TOD project was done through an RFP, but there was no design. So the town board spent considerable time and energy, and along with the public, in creating the preliminary design for the town square. So the projects are different in that respect. I just wanted to point that out. So I think if you're ready, we'll call the resolution.
Sure.
Okay, CDA 2022-5 designates J. Petroselli Development Associates as master developer for Town Square project, and authorizes Community Development Agency and NDC to commence negotiation of relevant terms to proceed pursuant to general municipal law provisions regarding determination of qualified and eligible and applicable hearing requirements. We need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrod,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes,
The resolution is adopted. And then we can go to open comments from the public
on any matter.
on any CDA matter, yeah.
Yep.
Good evening, Kelly McClinchy from Manorville. Just wanted to come up, address the board. I haven't been to a meeting in quite a while, and since the last time I was at a meeting, $3.5 million for Manorville Water. It's remarkable. I want to say thank you to you for your diligent work in helping secure that money. This is definitely a fine example of what happens when the elected officials and the residents work together. That being said, since I was notified a month ago by Senator Schumer's office, we haven't really had any communication between the residents and the town board. Is there anything that you can tell us tonight about the progress of the water extension in Manorville?
Yes, we can, and we sent 2 lengthy letters to Adrienne Esposito, who wrote to us and indicated that she wanted to know where we stand. And 2 phases, we fully informed her, and I was under the understanding that the Manorville residents were going to be informed by her. But thank you that you're here. We didn't sit on it, and I'll have Anne Marie come forward, and she'll give you an update, McClinchy, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. So the award of the $3.5 million was fantastic news. It wasn't by any stretch the full amount of the award that we had requested and that we required for both the map and plan for the South Manorville and the River Road. Notwithstanding same, just a week after the award, we put together an internal team which included Dawn Thomas, supervisor, H2M. Am I leaving anybody out? I don't know if I am. And we met regarding the strategy and to come up with a plan and how to evaluate the best way to move forward with providing the residents clean water, clean drinking water, knowing that our award was only $3.5 million. As a result of that meeting, we gave H2M some pretty concrete assignments, some of those including piping options that we could afford under the $3.5 million, giving us a loose draft of bid specifications that might relate to those options. Thereafter, immediately after the RAB meeting, which Kelly, I know you participated and attended, so did Frank Mancini, as well as Dawn Thomas, the Navy had actually approached Superintendent Mancini and requested copies of the map and plans. We took that as possibly a good and helpful sign. The residents of Manorville should know that not only did we provide the map and plans, we yet seized another opportunity for a plea for consideration for the Navy to participate in this effort and make it a cooperative effort. I can assure you that plea to participate and work with the town was pages long. It wasn't just a paragraph. Last, while I know you want a more definitive answer probably from myself or the town board tonight, I will report to you that I just completed a 2-hour meeting with Superintendent Mancini, H2M, Stan Carey, who is now a member of H2M, the president of H2M, and also John Collins. And we went over, quote, some of the things that the internal committee had discussed, and I look forward to working with them again in a week to 10 days, and either rolling out, well, definitely rolling out to the town board, the options, and then, based upon town board direction, maybe rolling out the options to the residents. But we need the options. We need to know the dollar amount. We need to know the best way to get us the closest to the end goal. And that's where we are.
Okay. Anyone else on any CDA matters? Chip, do we have anyone? All right, Dawn? No one is virtual, and no one in the audience has any other comments? Will you continue with the meeting, please?
Sure, so we would need a motion and a second to close the CDA meeting and open the town board meeting.
Second.
Okay, Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
Yes.
Bayrat,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Okay, CDA meeting is now closed and the town board meeting is open. Thank you.
All right, moving forward, we can have a first and a second to close the town board meeting and open the community. No, we did that already. Okay, Don, thank you. Thank you so much. You did your work already. You can go home. Thank you, Dawn, and moving forward, we don't have the minutes back from the last prior meeting, so I think, Diane, we're going to be ready for the figures, the reports, and the correspondence, please.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Under correspondence, I had multiple letters regarding the proposed Suffolk Theater project. 3 were in opposition. That was from Georgia Case, Marie Dominici, Susan Snezek, and Tony Mugno. His letter was of concern of the proposed 5th floor addition to the Suffolk Theater. Doreen Pesci, opinion and disagreement regarding the expansion of the Suffolk Theater. And then I had from Robert Skinner comments submitted to the record concerning the public hearing, Chapter 251 noise ordinance. There was a Cliff Road resident who didn't leave a name, sent a letter of support for the no parking signs on portions of Cliff Road East. Mark Terry sent a letter offering opinions and recommendations to Sound Avenue Traffic Solutions. There were 2 petitions. One petition for parking district number 1 to include 205 Osborne Avenue, and then the other petition was for an extension to the sewer district. Under reports, tax receiver total tax collection to date as of April 13th, $94,444,485.43. Tax receiver March utility collection report, $366,217.50. Riverhead IDA and Economic Job Development Corporation sent in their 2021 financial statements, and the police department sent in their March 2022 monthly report.
That's it? Thank you, Diane, and we're going to begin the first public hearing portion of this meeting today. The first public hearing is scheduled for 6 o'clock p.m. It is 6:43, and we are going to open up this public hearing to amend Chapter 251 regarding noise, public nuisances and public maintenance, and I'm going to ask Eric, our town attorney, to please explain this. I think it wasn't published, I think, well, we had it published, but it wasn't noticed with the residents, I believe.
The original public notice was, it was pulled from the packet and we amended it because
Okay.
if I remember right, there was a portion of the proposed code amendment that didn't make it into our minute
Okay.
track system. So we pulled it. It was always going to be scheduled for this evening. And it was at the next town board meeting, it was properly noticed again, and that brings us here to this public hearing. I'll introduce the resolution.
Okay, but
Or,
was
I'm
the
sorry,
public
the
notified
public-
though? I
Yes.
thought we were going to keep this meeting. Oh, it's the next one, okay, good, fine. Yes,
Okay.
please, thank you.
So, this proposed code amendment essentially takes a definition that was already within the code, noise pollution, and it was in the code and defined, but it wasn't incorporated into the balance of the code as a actionable term that could be used by code enforcement to issue violations for excessive noise. What's also being proposed is an addition to the definition of reasonable noise, which incorporates a plainly audible aspect, which will assist the code enforcement officer in establishing a violation without doing a comprehensive sound study. And it includes a new definition for plainly audible, and then takes that definition of noise pollution and essentially makes it actionable under the prohibited acts portion of the town code. We also modified the fine structure so that a first offense was previously $250, and it's staying at $250, but then limiting the max to $750 and creating second and third offense provisions, with an escalating fine schedule. It also makes a noise violation establishable after 15 minutes. So essentially, the idea is if you establish a violation and cite whoever's causing the disturbance, and they don't do anything about it right away, you can write another violation after 15 minutes. And that is more or less the extent of the proposed changes.
All right, do any members of the public wish to be heard on this matter? Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor and members of the board. My name is Bonnie Schmidt. I reside at 430 Manor Lane in Jamesport. I want to thank the town board for realizing that we have a serious noise problem in the town of Riverhead and for taking steps to correct it with this new noise ordinance. I have read the new ordinance, and my main concerns are who and how will it be enforced. I'm also curious if New York State troopers will have the authority to enforce this town ordinance. On a personal matter, it is my understanding that the Jamesport Manor has 35 events already booked for this upcoming season. In the past, calls made to the Riverhead PD by myself and other residents reporting the unreasonable noise have proven to be ineffective. Somehow the music gets lowered as the police approach the location, remains lowered as the police are on the catering premises or responding to the resident's home who made the complaint, and as soon as the police leave the area, the music is turned back up even louder than before. The only things accomplished have been taking the officers away from other calls and more frustration to the homeowner who has been subjected to this unreasonable noise for hours and now continues to be subjected to it until the event is over. Again, the noise ordinance is a step in the right direction as long as it can be enforced. I don't feel that neighbors have to be calling the police and feeling that we're bothering them because we know there's more serious calls that they may have to respond to. It's just an exasperating history that I've had in the past with noise from this area. Again, I want to thank you for listening to the residents and understanding the magnitude of this problem and for taking steps to rectify the unreasonable noise affecting so many of us throughout our town. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.
If I could quickly respond to that. So primarily, this would be enforced by police officers and the town's code enforcement officers. Under Chapter 107 of our town code, we do also sort of blanket authorize police officers in general to issue violations. But in having dealt with town code violations for about 5 years, you would rarely see a state trooper issue a town code violation. But that chapter extends to all certified New York State code enforcement officers. So technically, anyone who's employed by the town who has that certification could write the code violation. But just functionally, what I would recommend is contacting code enforcement if there's, if you believe there's a noise violation, and if it's generally the weekend, then I would contact PD.
Yeah, we have done that. I've had the code enforcement officer, and he's been so cooperative, at our home 3 times, monitoring the problem. But again, he leaves, and then the music is even louder. And, you have to try to coordinate having him there. But I'm talking about this isn't like a once-in-a-month incident. This is, 2 or 3 times a week, all summer, from May through October in the past. It's, so you have to coordinate to try to get Mr. Downs there. I understand that. I have this catering premises near us. They have an employee of theirs sitting out on Manor Lane in a pickup truck, supposedly with his own decibel reader. And trust me when I say I have begged this person, please come into my backyard, because I don't know why you're out here, because it's not doing any good out here. I have taken my own decibel reader, and I know that's not even an efficient way to do it. They're not certified. We're not certified to use one. They're not calibrated. But I have held mine side by side to this person, employees, and mine is higher. So I say, use mine. Use mine at least, right? I get nowhere. And then calling the police department, again, I have great respect for the police and what they do, and for all of you up here making this possible for us to even speak to you about it. It's just, you feel like you're bothering them, and you can hear it on the other end of the phone, and they're like, oh, here we go again, And after a while, you just feel like, I don't know, I'm just gonna give up. And it's upsetting because we're residents. It's not like I just moved there next to a catering facility. I've lived there over 30 years. And to see this escalate like this over the past 3 years we've been dealing with this, it's just, I know you're trying to do something, and I respect you, and I thank you for the effort, and I'm glad that, again, that you acknowledge there is a problem.
Well, so one thing I'll do to clarify is, this is a general code amendment, and this isn't intended to address any one situation,
I
right?
understand that.
So, what it does is it incorporates this definition of plainly audible, which allows a reasonable person to make a determination as to whether something is plainly audible from a neighboring property.
Yes.
Is the definition under the code. So each noise complaint is going to be different, just like any violation is different. It's going to be addressed, based on its own unique set of facts and circumstances. So, while I understand your interest is in a specific situation, this is a code amendment to better facilitate code enforcement and PD in addressing essentially any noise complaint.
Absolutely.
And, the ability or the desire to conduct a sound study is always going to be there. That's, typically used for, something that is a little more complex. But I think the intention here is just to provide code enforcement with better ways of responding to those types of complaints. And I made this comparison at the work session, is we have something in the town code for unreasonable odor. So this is essentially, brings unreasonable noise consistent with how we address unreasonable odor.
Yes, thank you.
Mrs. Schmidt, don't ever feel that you're bothering anybody when you call. I'm sure the chief will agree. If you got to call 6-10 times a night, call 6-10 times a night. I know it's a pain, but the more documentation and everything we have on it, the better it makes our case. So don't ever hesitate to call.
Okay, I appreciate you saying that to me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, John Cullen, Northville.
Hi, good evening.
Every Riverhead taxpayer deserves peace and quiet. I dealt with helicopters, Tim, for many years. I was getting clobbered by them, starting at 6:45 a.m. in the morning on Monday morning. On Fridays, it would go till 10 o'clock right over my home. I know what these people are dealing with. I know what other people are dealing with in Baiting Hollow and everything. From Northville, I can lay down on stargazing nights when I watch the news and they say, go out tonight and watch the shooting stars go by. And I'll go out with my wife and we will sit outside and we'll be looking up and we'll see everyone go by about every 45 seconds to a minute or a minute later. But I could also hear music. And I said, oh, somebody's having a wedding in the area. And I have no problem with that. But then I went out the following night and I heard the same exact song. I think it was Sweet Caroline around 10 of 11. And you could almost hear it clearly from that distance because not only is the music playing loud, but the people are roaring. They're really into it. They know it's the last chance and they're howling. So I just want to, I join these people looking for peace and quiet. And I hope they get it. Eric, as far as the fines go, what is the first, second, and third fine for a noise if they get written up 3 times?
All right, so a first offense is going to be $250 to $750. That's a discretionary range. Second offense is going to be $750 to $1,500. And then the third offense is going to be $1,500 to $2,500.
And is 3 strikes, are you out? Or does it keep going?
Well,
because $1,500 is nothing for somebody having a wedding. It's just tip money.
So it's third and subsequent offenses are going to be anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500. And typically, when you apply that discretion, you go higher if it's a persistent problem, if it's a repeat violator. So, while on a third offense you may go to $1,500, if it's a third offense by someone who's had 3 prior offenses or something, then you would typically go higher.
Right. Because, like I say, $1,500 a buck is tip money for these people, for daddy pulling a nice wedding for his daughter. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. Any other one? Anyone else?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? Good.
Jim Farley, 58 South Jamesport Avenue. This doesn't work. I mean, just listening to this conversation, this doesn't work. We have some amendments here. It's kind of like, if you remember, there's a famous Supreme Court justice who was quoted, I've been asked to define pornography and I can't, but I sure as hell know it when I see it. So we're putting in here some definition about what noise is or isn't. And yet, in the context of this whole thing, it seems to me that the legislation refers you back to these decibel meter tests and everything for anybody who's in a commercial context. Is that true for a commercial context? Is adjoining or abutting a residential area? And that's really what the problem is here, is that you've all encouraged business, that's fine, but business needs to learn how to live within its confines. If you want to move into a solidly residential area, you have to be 100% soundproofed, in effect, if I understand what these changes to the definitions are meant to do. But right now, I don't see how this really works. I mean, it's an endless, as many people describe, it's an endless calling the police, calling somebody to complain. Then all of a sudden, you've got to get into decibel meters and experts and so on and so forth. This is not solving the problem. And the fines are a joke. It should be a cease and desist. In other words, you violate the code, you're closed. Why not? I don't see why there should be any, shall we say, compassion shown to someone who basically is violating the rules you're seeking to establish, when in effect, they are utilizing a residential community for a money-making purpose, and they're not covering the freight. I mean, if you really take it, why don't we turn it around? Why shouldn't all the residents around the business making the noise share in the profit? If you want to destroy my peaceful existence, well then, okay, I'll take 20% for the night of the wedding. Why not? Because actually they're using other people's property to make their business go. So there's something essentially wrong with this legislation. It's a patchwork. As a matter of fact, the amendments that got put in here, and I don't know if I got the right set or not, but it was like a partial 3 or 4 page document that's got certain amendments highlighted in it, but without being put into the context of the total legislation, which is some 12 pages or so, depending upon which font you use. And I think this thing needs to be reworked. It's just not working right. The fines are negligible in the context of what's the other fellow mentioned. So I think it should be held back and should be walked through very carefully, line by line, and we should figure out where we want to be. If we all know what noise pollution is, and that's true of a resident, that's true even of a business person, it's true of the policeman or anyone else, code officer called to look into the situation, that's what the definition is. We don't need decibel meters or all these kinds of fine tunings. Noise is noise. If you're sitting in your living room and you can't hear a TV because they've got music going on next door, I think it's pretty obvious. And why would I ever need a decibel meter to figure that one out? And on top of it, the biggest problem I really think is simply amplified music. If somebody wants to have a troubadour on the patio, you know, serenading the customers while they have a drink, fine, let him use his guitar. Why does he need an amplifier? Everybody's sitting right there. I don't know. But it just seems to me that this isn't working right. And I think we ought to pause, revisit it, and clearly, I mean, I understand from Manor Lane's point of view, and for the town board, actually, there's a bigger issue pending in terms of that whole situation, and it's clearly evolving from this legislation, which isn't working. So that's my 5 cents, if you will.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, anyone else? Chip, oh, yes, we do. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Robert Skinner. I live at 14 Eileen Circle in Jamesport, which is, for the reference point of the prior speaker, is off of Herrick's Lane. My wife and I have endured chronic noise exposure from the aforementioned outdoor wedding venue, which is over a half a mile away from our house. And I've illustrated that in the referenced document which was sent to the town board, which you all have gotten last week. This illustrates 19 events that have been clearly audible or plainly audible, I guess, as this amendment is referencing, in either our backyard or inside our house, from the roughly 35 that the owner testified that he had done last year at the prior zoning board. So I'm using those numbers, and that's how this came about. I believe that this, and I'll just call it the Code 251 amendment, has the potential to be a valuable tool and an asset to the residents and homeowners who are subjected to this type of audible assault. To base this on the criteria of plainly audible and then define plainly audible as such is logical and should significantly aid the residents in similar proximity to such sound sources. The proliferation of outdoor agritainment venues producing this type of commercial grade noise is putting more and more homeowners in the position where somebody is making money at the direct cost of the ability to enjoy people's homes and properties. These businesses are leveraging what is left of the bucolic surroundings to their advantage, while the proximal homeowners can do little to preserve any commensurate auditory surroundings of what they see out their windows. One of the arguments that I would like to put forth from the prior speaker is that to say that commercial venues in residential areas, this is not residential, this is agricultural protective zone according to the zoning board hearings that we have heard. So I think that needs to be taken into consideration. Before I forget, I want to say that I agree with everything that Eric Howard did in describing this to the advantage of the people who are affected, and I'm not going to repeat it, all right? But I want it known that I agree with this. In my case, the primary sound source is over 2,900 feet away from my house. If you look at the Baiting Hollow Farm Vineyard Planning Board hearing and see how dismissively the potential for outdoor wedding sound readings reaching homes 2,500 feet from the source was addressed as these homes are 2,500 feet away. They'll never hear anything. No, this is 2,900 feet away, and this is what you hear. So we're not just talking about this one particular venue, we're talking about the proliferation of other venues that may come up. So this amendment or amended proposal would have utility throughout the town. I don't want to think that it's just particularly for this instance. I agree that in dealing with a friend of mine who I was at his house when they called the police on somebody, to have the police come in and say, sorry, we can't do anything because we don't know if it's over 65 decibels. I believe that this proposal gives some recourse to the homeowner when you can walk in and hear what these people were hearing, okay? You don't need a decimal meter to know if it's plainly audible noise. And this is a help. It is a step forward, because prior to this, effectively, we have had nothing, okay? And everything is always based on, well, we are allowed to operate to this level because the town of Riverhead said so. It's based on the 65 decibels. Even when it was dropped to 50, we still had the same level of noise come in at our house, 0.55 miles away. We keep hearing about planning board and zoning board efforts to preserve the rural characteristics for future generations. Such a unique and different areas we have on the North Fork requires special attention for maintenance and keeping this rural character. This 251 amendment to the noise code will help those of us who are already in these, what do you want to call it, agri-residential areas, okay? We're already here, we're already paying the money. Everybody's looking to preserve stuff for the future. Let's try to preserve some of the current character so that we can have commensurate quiet with the rural and farm surroundings, rather than hear DJs screaming, I can't hear you, at all hours of the day, or all hours of the evening into the night on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I hope the board sees this as audibly plainly as I do. And I thank you for your time, and I thank Town Hall as a total, the code enforcement people, the police, the zoning, the planning, for looking at this, looking at the situation, and paying attention to it, to at least give us some sort of recourse going forward. It may not be perfect, okay? I agree with John Cullen that they could very easily just work it into the cost. That was part of my thing here, okay? But we've had virtually nothing to help us so far. This to us is a sign that there's help, there's concern. So we appreciate and recognize the research and the work and the time that went into this from the varying agencies, and thank you, and I hope this goes through, and is there anything you guys want to know from me?
No, you said enough, Robert.
All right.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it's great to hear what you have to say.
So one thing I want to clarify on is this code amendment is directed towards sound reproduction devices. All right, now that's a separate term that's defined in the code, but generally it includes musical instruments, radio, television, tape recorder, loudspeaker, PA system, any other sound amplifying device, okay? That's specifically what this amendment is directed towards. So your commercial, industrial, business operations section of the code that deals in decibel levels for certain zoning use districts and everything, that's all remaining intact. This is to address those sound reproduction devices.
And it also mentions, and of course now I'm not going to find it, but it also mentions like the people that are making the noise, let's see, the DJs that are playing it. I mean, that's one of the things where I think the DJs have to be held accountable for this kind of stuff, and I don't know if that specifically addresses this, but maybe that's something that can be tweaked.
Well, I think under my reading of this, it says no person shall make, continue, or cause, no person shall operate or cause to be operated a sound reproduction device. So essentially, that's anyone who's operating it or who has control over it.
Yes, the control aspect, that's what, okay, great. Thank you very much.
That helps in what Mr. Fairley was saying with the ability to be able to go in and say, okay, you're interrupting a wedding now. Now you're issuing a summons not only to the owner of the property possibly, but also to the guy producing the music or the DJ or whoever's got the microphone. That interruption in daddy's daughter's special day is not going to last long for a business that's trying to do weddings. That's going to interrupt, regardless of what the fines are, which the fines have increased, thankfully, or put this all together, and it's going to make it harder for a venue to have an outdoor wedding in that area, or in other areas that would create the same disturbance to people's right to a quiet neighborhood.
Well, when we witnessed what went on with the planning board with Bating Hollow, how they very skillfully leveraged the situation in Jamesport, as they said it at the time, and got what they got out of it, and potentially we're still in the firing line. And again, with my neighborhood and the people that I referenced that sent letters prior at over a half a mile away, well over, okay, we look and say, this is something that we hope will help us to have some peace and quiet this summer, because wedding season's coming. So, thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Anyone else?
John McAuliffe from Rolling Woods. Totally different noise question, which is gas-powered leaf blowers, which have, I think, graduated from the backpack to the rolling ones that are, I don't know what the distance is and the decibel level is, but it certainly has become, in our area, a real obstacle to people's home life. And as the weather gets warmer and the windows stay open, it becomes more of a problem. I know some communities have simply forbidden gas-powered leaf blowers and required that people shift over to battery-powered leaf blowers, which are much less noisy. And I would hope that that would be in consideration in the future in Riverhead.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else? Chip, anyone? That's it? Does the board want to comment on this?
Nope.
No? Okay. We're going to close the public hearing. It is 7:12. We're going to leave it open for 10 days for written comment until 4:30 p.m. on April 29, 2022 at the town clerk's office. And moving forward, our last public hearing was scheduled for 6:10. It is now 7:13. And we're going to open it up for open comments for the public before us. This public hearing is regarding the site plan improvements to 133-139 Railroad Avenue. I understand also Eric wants to speak on this topic, so Eric.
All right, thank you, Madam Supervisor. It came to our attention today that the requirement that the applicant post notice of this public hearing and send certified mailings to surrounding properties wasn't entirely completed. So what we're going to do today is we're going to open the public hearing, and we're going to field any comments or testimony from individuals that have come here to speak on it tonight. And we're going to leave that open. We're going to adjourn the public hearing to, I think, May 3rd, if that's acceptable.
Devin, was that May 3rd? That was the correct date? Okay.
All right, and then we will, could reopen the public hearing at that time. The applicant or any other interested individuals can come in and speak and put anything on the record that they'd like. And for the time being, the opportunity to submit any written comments is also, remains open.
All right. Who was responsible for notifying the public, Eric?
The applicant.
Did we inform him or her?
We were, this came to me this afternoon that it just
Yeah, I
wasn't
know,
done.
it did 2 hours before the meeting, so, yeah, we have to find out where that disconnect is, because
Well, typically,
we're gonna miss people, if the public doesn't know and we're holding a public hearing, we got a little bit of an issue here,
right,
so.
well, it is their site plan application, and,
Okay.
you would hope that they are aware of the requirements when.
Whoever
when
is
they-
responsible, it's probably the town somewhere along, can you just follow up for me? Make sure whether it's building or the applicant, there's a disconnect because the public, wasn't aware, that we're having this. Aside from obviously the media posted it, but apparently the people on the block or the neighbors were not aware, right?
As far as I'm concerned, the town has done everything that it needs to do to provide notice
Okay.
of this public hearing. If there was a lapse in
Okay.
any of the other notices that the applicant needed to put out.
Okay, so it was on the
that would
applicant's side?
be- Yes. But in any event, I don't see any significant harm in adjourning this and leaving it open, and think the applicant can come in at that point, and anybody who wishes to place any testimony in favor or in
Good,
opposition
okay.
to it can do so then.
Okay. Is Greg here with us? Oh, he's not here with us? Okay, so we're gonna have, our head planner come forward and, review this topic with us, please. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Supervisors, members of the board. For the record, Jefferson Murphy, Building and Planning Administrator. How are you all this evening? This is a site plan application known as 133-139 Railroad Avenue, and that is the street address and location of the proposed development. Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-128-3-17.1. For all of you Riverhead locals, this was the former Loose Caboose Bar Tavern building. They are now proposing to make this building and the adjacent retail space into a 42-seat restaurant. So the application before you is to convert that existing building, renovate it, improve upon it, and make it into a restaurant. The town board, by resolution number 2021-138, back in February of 2021, assumed lead agency and issued a negative declaration pursuant to SECRA. The existing facade will remain largely intact. The Architectural Review Board has reviewed it, and they're going to be making facade improvements. They're going to be adding and improving and paving the parking lot, enclosing all the garbage enclosures, enclosing the walk-in cooler in the back of the property, and adding one street tree to the front of the property. There are 2 existing street trees in front of the property, and that's largely the application. We need the public hearing. We will continue this to the May 3rd meeting. And then following that, we need final approval from the Architectural Review Board on the final facade renderings. And that is the application.
Okay.
As I've stated prior, any improvement to that area is an improvement, and it's greatly welcomed. I think this will be nice for the area. I think with the TOD and other things that are going on, this is going to fit in rather well down there.
Yeah, it's
So-
great timing for this, and I wish them luck, but yeah, I agree with Tim.
Okay, anyone? Anyone from the public want to make a comment regarding this public hearing? No one? Do we have anyone? Oh, that was a pretty easy one. Any board members want to comment on this topic?
I'll just say as liaison to the Architectural Review Board, they're doing, this group that's doing this development, it's a nice development. It's a good restaurant, it's gonna be a good-looking restaurant, so. Good area to do it in, needs it.
Okay, Eric, can you please go over the time frame regarding the adjournment and the written comment period again, so the public is clear, please?
Okay, so we are going to leave this public hearing open. We're going to adjourn it to May 3rd at 2:05. I'm not sure which time works. I know we have a lot of other public hearings that day.
Yeah, we do. That's a big one. Debbie, can you give us the, look at the calendar, please? I think we have 4 or 5 public hearings that day. 2:35.
So adjourn to May 3rd at 2:35 PM. And the written comments, to the extent that they're always accepted, that'll be accepted up to the date of the public hearing, unless the supervisor at the close of the public portion thereafter extends it.
Go crazy, go 2:45.
Okay, so this is going to conclude our public hearing portion of the meeting, and we're going to move on forward. Okay, we're going to move on to resolutions, but before we call the resolutions, does anyone from the public have any comments on the resolutions before us that are about to be read?
And before we get going, I'll just issue the standard reminder that pursuant to the town board's rules, the comment on these resolutions can be limited to 5 minutes. When you come up, please state your name, your hamlet, and the specific resolution that you're addressing.
John McAuliffe again from Roanoke Landing, and it's Resolution 42, the one we've already discussed in the CDA. I had not seen this printed document until after I spoke, and in looking at it, I think, again, you need to look at what's happened to that space with the hotel and the other buildings. And 70 foot as opposed to, I don't know what the original space across was, but it totally changes the nature of the space. I also am not clear whether the number of apartments and condo units are within the 500 limit or whether they're breaking the 500 limit. And I think that would be helpful to have clarified. Secondly is the question of parking. My understanding from the work session was that parking was now supposed to be in a to-be-designed parking building on the other side of Main Street, and that may well make sense. That whole parking area may well be worth getting rid of, but I wondered whether there isn't parking even within both of these buildings. At least what I heard was that only one of them referenced parking, but that could just be a question of what I heard. Finally, I think if you look at the two designs, the original design with Riverhead as a low ground level sign is a lot more attractive and less intrusive than the current design, which has Riverhead as a big above the whole park area, and I think is going to be much more breaking the whole idea, which is to create a sense of openness between the increasingly cluttered Main Street area with the apartment buildings and the river. So I just, at the point that you may be locked in now to these things, but I think that seriously needs to be, that whole inclusion of the hotel and those condominium buildings really needs to get looked at before this goes to final action. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Anyone else want to come forward? Chip, do we have anyone on? We don't? Okay, we have, we have one more person.
Hi, Diana Ravolo from Calverton.
Good evening.
I looked over this, the proposal by Petroselli, and I think it's a wonderful idea for Riverhead. It'll, revitalize the town the way we would like to see it. It's a long time coming, and I applaud it. Mr. Petroselli has done so much for Riverhead as it is, and now with this for the town square, it's just going to be icing on the cake. So,
Thank you for, Diane, for your comment. Ms. Swift, good to see you.
Good evening to the board and everyone. Grace Swift, Calverton, New York. It's in Resolution 342. Riverhead needs revitalizing. This project is a major, awesome step in the right direction. And being aware of the other projects done by Mr. Petruccelli, especially Lake Ronkonkoma, where I came from before I came out here, with your organization, I personally feel confident that the downtown revitalization project done by the Petruccelli organization will be amazing and will draw people from far and wide. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Swift. Anyone else? Chip, do we have anyone online? We have no one online?
Well, they don't have their hands up.
Oh, they don't have the, okay, they don't have their hands up. How many do we have?
3.
Okay, 3. They went to bed. It's getting late for them. All right, so moving forward to resolutions. Diane, can you please call the resolutions for today?
Yes, certainly. Resolution 284.
So, we got to make an amendment, I believe, on resolution
Yes.
number 1, or 284?
Yes, our tax assessor brought to my attention that the tax map number on this was a typo. So it should read 0600-100-03-003.
Okay.
So we're gonna run the resolution, take a vote. Oh, you gotta read it?
I'll read the
You're gonna
resolution
read it?
and then we'll vote on it
Okay.
as amended,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, thanks.
Resolution 284, North Point Development Project number 82205, budget adoption, so moved as amended.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Ayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 285.
Accepts the resignation of a part-time account clerk, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Ayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 286.
Accepts the resignation of a part-time driver messenger, so moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Ayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 287.
Accepts the resignation of a water treatment plant operator. Is that 2B?
To be.
So moved.
Better at these.
Oh, stop.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Ayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 288.
Retirement of a police officer, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Best wishes to Michael, yes.
Ayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Chief, if they keep going like this, I'm not going to know anybody, there won't be anybody that I ever worked with. You'll be the only one. Yeah, Mike Lombardo, best of luck to him on his retirement. Mike is going to ride off on his Harley. He's a big motorcycle guy, and enjoy his retirement. So best of luck to Mike. God bless you. Yes.
Aguiar.
Best of luck, brother in blue, after 26.5 years. We wish you well, many years of retirement. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 289.
Ratifies the appointment of a water treatment plant operator to be. So moved.
Seconded.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Ayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 290.
Appoints a deputy town attorney, so moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Abstain.
Ayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
I'm going to say yes, but I know Eric is working hard. You're going to reorganize the office, and you're going to have a structure of command eventually.
Yes.
So hopefully that's going to be the case, and I am going to go vote yes. I did interview this applicant, although it was a different last name, right?
Yes, she was previously practicing under
Okay,
her
it says it
maiden
on
name.
here.
She's, yeah.
Okay.
She's
All
filed
right.
paperwork with the appellate division to switch it
Yes,
over.
and I think she should go into, have some training, municipal training, so
Yeah,
hopefully.
there's a great deal of COEs that can be done either online or,
They can, right?
in person.
Good.
Yes. And I just want to say that I'm very excited to bring Ms. Hurley into the office. I think she brings a really applicable skill set. She has a lot of writing and litigation experience, and just really looking forward to adding her to the town attorney team.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 291.
Sets terms and conditions of employment for deputy attorney Danielle Hurley. Wait, did we just read that one?
Yeah, but this is the terms and condition of her employment.
Oh,
This is hiring her, and the next one is under what conditions.
okay.
And I've thoroughly reviewed them,
All
so.
right, so moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Abstain.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 292.
Appoints a temporary office assistant to the tax receiver's office. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, we got a second, vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 293.
Appoints a building permits examiner. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 294.
Appoints a network and system specialist 1. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 295.
Appoints new seasonal beach personnel to the recreation department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 296.
Appoints a call-in recreation aide to the recreation department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 297.
Appoints returning seasonal beach and park personnel to the recreation department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 298.
Approve special event, Chapter 255 application for Peconic County Brewery DAD BOD 5K. So moved.
Second.
Before we ask to vote, Devin, I understand the route was gonna be changed? So we're gonna amend this resolution, correct?
Just the route.
Just the route, well, we're gonna amend the resolution, right, Chief? Okay. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening.
Okay.
So it was through downtown, the route, and it was too many streets downtown, so we pushed it more out towards the east, down Hubbard Avenue, and then back again, so.
So there's gonna be an amendment and,
You pass that, just the route that's amended, we've already talked about.
yeah, so if somebody has to amend this resolution.
The route is not in
The route's not on the resolution, so
Oh, you
it's
didn't
not
put the route
necessary
in?
to amend
Okay,
it.
no problem.
It's part of the safety plan that they put
Okay,
together for it.
great, thank you. All right, please vote.
Okay. Kern.
A vote as amended. Yes.
Rothwell.
There's no amendment. I vote yes.
Bayrock.
And the
Because it
BOD
changed
is
around.
bod, by the way, right?
That's
Dad
a
bod.
bod, like
Yeah.
me, a bod, a dad bod,
Yes.
yes. Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Still working on mine.
Hubbard.
I told you, I'm the poster child of the before pictures for any of this stuff that happened, so, yes, absolutely. Good program.
Aguiar.
Yes, as the route is amended on the safety plan. Absolutely.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 299.
That's me. Approve special event chapter 255 application for Peconic Bay Medical Center, Peconic Bay Medical Center, Northwell Health Walk at East End. So moved.
Second, can I get a second, please?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 300.
Approve special event Chapter 255 application for NFDSNY Latin Musical Festival. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 301.
Approves Chapter 255, special event application for Peconic County Brewing, PCB Fest, September 10th, 2022. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
If it's anything like last year's, it's going to be awesome, yes.
Aguirre.
Were you dancing?
That was not me that you saw dancing.
Okay. Yes.
There is another handsome person that looks just like me.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 302.
Approve special event, Chapter 255, application for Race Awesome, 7th Annual Jamesport Triathlon. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 303.
Approve special event, Chapter 255 application for Long Island Antique Power Association, tractor and truck pulls and big rig shows. So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
I will second.
Okay. Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Another event that's annually, draws a lot of people. It's a great event. Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 304.
Approve special event application for Wading River Shoreham Chamber of Commerce Duck Pond Day. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Another great event, yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 305.
Extends days of operation for Riverhead Raceway under Chapter 259 of the Riverhead Town Code due to COVID-19. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yeah, I just want to say Tom Gatz and crew up there have done a fantastic job, and yes, all the more power to them.
Aguirre.
Yes, absolutely.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 306.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for rebid for fertilizer and lawn chemicals. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 307.
Ooh, hang on. Authorizes town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for buses for summer recreation and teen camp trips. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 308.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for annual fire and security alarm contracts. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 309.
Authorizes the town clerk to re-advertise notice to bidders for sporting goods. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 310.
Rejects bids for fertilizer and lawn chemicals. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
I'm going to abstain because my company was one of the bidders.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 311.
Awards bid for charter buses. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 312.
Awards bid for dry hydrated lime calcium hydroxide. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 313.
Awards bid for concessions vendors at town parks and beaches 2022. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Arod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 314.
Ratifies the rescinding of Resolution 2022-280 and cancels the public hearing to consider a local law to amend Chapter 271 entitled Smoking of the Riverhead Town Code. So
Second.
moved.
Oh, second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
I just want to say, this is, we are tackling smoking, but I just wanted to make certain that in our own town public events, basically like all Chapter 255 events and so forth, Alive on 25, that we're going to limit all possible to keep the marijuana, smoking, vaping products away from those events. So I vote yes.
A-Rod,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Long time coming, that's where it belongs, away from our children and away from family events. I do not support marijuana use here, we're not prepared in Riverhead, but we're gonna move forward with the next resolution. I vote yes on this one, and Diane, can you read the next one, please?
Sure, that resolution is adopted. Resolution 315.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 271 entitled Smoking of the Town, Riverhead Town Code. So moved.
Seconded.
Can I have a vote, please?
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Strong, firm, yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 316.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 289 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Vehicles, Traffic, and Parking Regulations, Chapter 289.10, Parking Prohibited, Sound Avenue. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 317.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post public notice to consider the local law to amend Chapter 289 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Vehicles, Traffic, and Parking Regulations, subsection 289.10, Parking Prohibited, Cliff Road East. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 318.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 289 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Vehicles, Traffic, and Parking Regulations, subsection 289.7, weight limits. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 319.
Sets new public hearing for the special permit application of 265 Washington Avenue, 265 Washington Avenue, South Jamesport, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-68-3-26. So moved.
Vote, please.
Seconded.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 320.
Authorizes notice of public hearing to establish fair and reasonable sewer rent for out-of-town facilities for calendar year 2022. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Pay the sewer bill, I'm turning the valve off. Yes.
Aguirre.
Not legal, but you can do it, it's not legal. Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 321.
Adopts a local law to increase salary of town highway superintendent for 2022 fiscal year, subject to permissive referendum. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 322.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with the Riverhead Business Improvement District Management Association, Inc. regarding 2022 calendar year events and services non-pro-tunc. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
I worked with them very closely during COVID. They put up a big show, they got the people out in the street, and this year the bid is full with a tremendous amount of activities. And the fireworks last year engaged the entire community. I think we have over 20,000 people, and it's good to see us going back to our new normal, and I vote yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 323.
Authorizes supervisor to execute change order number 1 wellhead treatment for removal of manganese at plant number 5, contract P Plumbing Construction, Riverhead Water District. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 324.
Authorize the supervisor to execute agreement with Cummings Incorporated regarding generator service and maintenance at facilities of the Riverhead Water District. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Mayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 325.
Well, this is the one we've been waiting for. Designates J. Petroselli Development Associates, Petroselli Development, as master developer for Town Square project and authorizes Community Development Agency and the NDC to commence negotiation of relevant terms to proceed pursuant to general municipal law, provisions regarding determination of qualified and eligible and applicable hearing requirements. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Mr. Petroselli, you don't have to stay to the end of this meeting. You've got a lot of work to do, so I vote yes.
Mayrod.
A resounding yes.
Hubbard.
I'm about to say something that's probably going to get me into hot water, but I'm used to that. In
Do
terms
tell.
of this project and many other projects that go on, and local press, make sure you get this right. I go home from here, from these meetings, sometimes scratching my head and thinking that if somebody offered to come into our beautiful town and build a children's hospital for cancer and offer free treatment, that there would be somebody at that microphone or somebody on Zoom that would find fault about it. And I wonder what gets into these people sometimes, but I give up trying to figure that out. For the life of me, when good projects come to our town and good things come to make our town a better place, that there's any opposition whatsoever, it just baffles me. This is a tremendous project. It has been so many years in the talks. Well, guess what? The talk is starting to do the walk. And thank goodness to our CDA, to Dawn, to Anne Marie, to all of our staff in the CDA, to Mr. Petroselli for investing in our beautiful town with every project he's done. And Mr. Herrera, no, he hasn't given me money into my account, so just for the record. It's so good to have progress in this town. The TOD, downtown, hopefully EPCAL soon. It's like we're riding on this wave, and I'm so proud to be a Riverhead resident, and I couldn't be happier to vote yes for Mr. Petroselli and his team to do the town square, so yes.
Aguirre.
Mr. Petroselli, I don't really know you that well, but I know of you throughout the years. And reputation from people who are not gossipers, right, for people who are stakeholders in the community, it's impeccable. You believed in us. You invested here when no one wanted to invest. You've proven yourself. We don't want someone from New Jersey or Pennsylvania telling us what to do here in the East End. So I proudly join my colleagues and I vote yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 326.
It was 326.
2026 is Rothwell.
326.
Good on this 26.
Authorizes the supervisor to issue a letter to the Suffolk County Department of Health Services allowing the use of Pine Barrens credits originated from property located in Riverhead, Crest LLC. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Mayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 327.
Retains Sam Schwartz as consultant to the planning board, Osted subdivision. So moved.
I need a second, please.
Seconded.
Thank you. Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Mayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 328.
Grants extension of special permit for the application known as 48 Cromer LLC for a proposed liquid propane storage and distribution facility and industrial facility with accessory office located at 48 Cromer Avenue, Riverhead, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-119-1-32.1. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Mayrod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 329.
Pays the bills. So moved.
Seconded.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
A-Rod.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay, thank you, Diane. This is going to conclude the resolutions for today. Do we have anyone from the audience want to come forward to discuss any concerns on any matter concerning Town Hall?
Hi, John Cullen, Northville again.
Hi, John.
Earth Day is coming up this Friday,
That's right.
and I'm still riding my bicycle by all those telephone poles and all that blacktop that is just dumped on the ground over at the EPCAL Center bike path. Has there been any movement or any signs of something that can be done with this? And if
Yeah,
there's
Bob is
any
working
leadership
with
that I
them.
can follow through and get in touch with? I have sent pictures to the town engineer, Mr. Dillingham.
Dillingham.
And I got no response from him. I believe he went out to look at the site, but he was unable to get into the gates there. But I was wondering if there's anything going on as far as cleaning up that, because if it was at the end of your block, it was on your property, it was anywhere near your homes, you would want it gone. And a lot of people ride that bike path. I think it would be wonderful to see it disappear, especially knowing that Earth Day is just a couple of days away. Maybe we can get some phone calls going and take it from there.
For the record, John, where is it on the bike path?
Railroad tracks.
On the bike path, I've sent you, I think you've all seen the pictures. I'll be more than happy to send them again to you. For the record, there's a back entrance to the addiction center off River Road.
I know okay, I know where it is. I know
That
where you're
gate
talking.
there is locked. If you go through that gate, or if you just
Right.
drive around and, you're public, you can just drive your car right down the path. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's a pile, and it's a big pile, and it should be taken away.
Okay.
On another note, I saw that the racetrack had an extended, how many extra days are they gonna get for that? Mr. Gasso, I think it was? Are they
Yeah.
just looking for a weekend or two?
It was for the same number that were canceled on early on in the season. They had just extended them on to the end.
Okay.
There's no additional dates or anything. It's just it's the same amount of time.
Well, back to the piles of wood. I know that the town has gotten a lot of bonus money lately. You've got money coming in for the movies. You had AAA with the insurance taking over the racetrack, storing cars there for months. And you even have the racetrack money coming in. So I'm hoping that those funds can help pay for having that material taken away. I'm sure it's a peanut compared to what's coming in with this extra bonus money that the town probably didn't know they had 2 years ago or even this year.
Just to clear it up, this is not about the drag racing. This is about the raceway, Riverhead Raceway.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Nope, I
I
just wanna
take
make sure
that
you
back
know.
then.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I love that place.
But I
too.
still agree
I
with
go
you,
to
Travis.
those races too.
Well, and also, just according to the resolution, it gives up 2 April dates in exchange for 1 date in November.
I have no worries whatsoever about that. And one final note, but let's go back to the racetrack itself at EPCAL. I'm not sure if any of you have gone to the races, but when you leave the races, if you take a look on the right side of Burnham Avenue, it's a dump. The garbage is uncontrollable from the exit onto Burnham Avenue down to the traffic light on the right side, and there's bad garbage on the left side. I know Mr. Scasio, the guy who's running the show there, he has been super accommodating to this town. I've sat here and listened to him say, whatever you want, I'll do. Whatever you want, I'll do. Perhaps somebody on the town board can reach out to him and ask him if his crew can clean up that street after Sunday afternoon races or the end of the races on a weekend. It is a dump, and I'll tell you that much. I ride that area. I know EPCAL pretty well. But just to see that area and all the garbage on the side, and I know some of the board members might go to a car race over there, or you drive through the area, take a peek and look what I'm telling. Just when you see it, you'll be saying, thank you, John Cullen. So I thank you. I wish you all, I hope you all had a nice Easter, and I think I'm done here. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, John Cullen.
Yes, John. Are you going to be at a cleanup day?
I will be picking up garbage on Saturday morning.
Where, in
I'd like to
EPCAL?
see some of you there.
Yeah, we're going to try, at EPCAL?
No, I'm not,
You're not going there?
I'm not going, I do the east side where I live, it's a little easier.
Okay.
But maybe,
We'll see you there. All right, anyone else? Any comments? Oh, Ms. Swift, you're back? Okay.
Hi, Grace Swift, Carrollton.
Yes.
I just wanted to thank the board for coming to my complex when we had that quilt for valor for our two elderly veterans. You were all supposed to be getting a thank you note.
Which we
but
did, by the way. I know I did.
I
Thank you.
can't seem to get my computer to give me the right program, and then I went to Barbara, who's my secretary, and her computer wasn't typing. I don't know whether it's us or the computer, probably us. But you made such an impression, especially on our World War II veteran, Mr. Shaw. He has seen me since, and he is just elated that this could have come for him. 96, he's almost 97, and I want to tell you, he is one spry person. And I really, and the two members of the press, local, you were there, I thank you, and Tim was there also, plus other politicians. But I do want to thank every one of you. They are still astounded that all of you took the time to come to celebrate for them. And that was for our veterans. Thank you.
We want to thank you for inviting us,
Yes.
and those two are heroes, and
Yes.
they should be celebrated as such. And
Yes.
thank you for inviting us.
I appreciate you thanking for being invited as well.
And I'll tell you, the quilts were
Beautiful.
Oh, they were
They were
fabulous.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they were really amazing pieces of art. And that woman who bakes and doesn't eat the stuff, but bakes for everybody, phenomenal.
And it was a packed
Is
house.
that Betty? What's her name?
Not Betty Crocker.
No, no,
The one that does the home baking was
the daughter of,
the World War II veteran's daughter,
Yep.
Jerry Ann. She bakes for all our affairs that go on in the clubhouse. She's amazing. She really is.
Yeah.
She loves to bake. You can give her any product and she'll bake it into something.
you guys threw a great party.
Yes, I'm glad I was able to join you halfway down the line, and it was a packed house, and I'm glad that they were touched, and don't make it the last one.
I can't,
Don't make it the last one, the last event. We'll be there if we need to, if you invite us.
probably next year.
Okay, so that's
Grace,
great.
thank you for giving us the opportunity to thank the veterans. That was absolutely wonderful event you put together, so thank you very much.
Yes.
I noticed the blue and yellow flare.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, it's been up there right away. Chip, anyone online? Okay, and that's fine, no one from the public? Okay, so now we're gonna move on. This is gonna, thank you everyone, we're gonna conclude our meeting for today, for this evening, and can I have a first and a second to close the town board meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Great, stay safe everyone, and have a great night.